Folks, this is Texas Paul. We have to talk about this Operation Lone Star down here in Texas. This has been $4 billion that Abbott has spent, and it's for nothing but his re-election campaign. He has taken and activated the National Guard, which is standing out in the desert with their thumb up their butt. Okay? They are not arresting anybody. Okay? Then he's taken law enforcement assets out of other counties and moved them to the border to pretend like he's doing something. And then they turned around and they published all this stuff. Oh, look at what we're doing. We stopped all this fentanyl from coming in the country. Oh, look at all these people that got arrested down at the border, this, that, and the other. Okay, we need to talk some facts about the failure that Operation Lone Star is. Okay, first, the border's not open. One of the biggest complaints we Democrats have about Biden is that he never repealed the Trump-era Title 42 laws that were so draconian about COVID, about just immediately shipping people back, not giving them their day in court, just shipping them back. They're still doing that. The border is not by any means open unless you believe it was open during the Trump administration. The only thing the Biden administration did is quit being cruel to families and cruel to children. They've been busting their ass to make sure that children stay with their families. They've been busting their ass to make sure that if just children come over, that we find the families here and we reunite them with their families. That's been the only difference. The border's closed, and the arrests that Abbott's claiming are part of his Operation Lone Star are coming out of the federal government. Those are Biden's arrests. Those are Customs and Border Patrol agents, federal agents that are making those arrests. Local agents have made almost no arrests. I mean, and they've been fighting, Abbott's been fighting this information coming out. You know, you've got journalists that have been inquiring, give us the data, give us the statistics. They've been fighting it left and right. They've been claiming everything under the sun, but they won't turn over the raw data so that people could look at it. Well, now it's coming out, and we're finding out those big fentanyl arrests are bullshit, They're happening at the border crossings, which means A, the border's not open because they're making fentanyl arrests at the border. And who runs the border? Not the state of Texas, the federal government. So those are Biden's fentanyl arrests, not Abbott's. Those are Biden's fentanyl arrests. And to top it off, we found out that 85% of those fentanyl arrests weren't even from Mexicans. They were from Americans who went down, bought fentanyl, and were sneaking it across the border. 85% were Americans. Folks, this Lone Star boondoggle bullshit has been over $4 billion. $4 billion the state has spent for nothing so that they can claim credit for what the federal government's doing. It's an utter failure. Lone Star is an utter failure. And it's now $4 billion going on $5 billion. That's nothing but part of Abbott's re-election campaign. You know, we need to be screaming this from the rooftops. This is a total abuse of funding because, folks, let me talk to my Texas people for a minute. We have a balanced budget amendment. We have to balance our budget every year. That $4 billion is coming out of your pocket. It's coming out of your schools. It's coming out of your agricultural programs. It's coming out of your already destroyed roads. They can't just crap this money. They've got to take it from other places. And I'm telling you, this is bullshit. This is nothing but trying to get Abbott reelected. And they're lying. B, this is all credit to Biden and the Democrats. It's the Customs and Border Patrol agents that are making these arrests. they're literally wasting the money. And on top of it, these National Guardsmen have lives. This is not their number one job. This was their weekend, 1 weekend a month, 1 weekend. You know how the National Guard works. We took these people out of their lives for nothing. For nothing. Just to get Abbott reelected so he could act like a fucking tough guy when he's a wimp. He's a lying wimp. I love you folks, but man, we have to get all over this. This cannot continue to go on. You have to elect Beto O'Rourke. He will not waste your money. He will make sure your money goes to help people in Texas. Not this bullshit. He will not take law enforcement assets away from other counties to come to the border to do nothing. I love you folks. Hit the subscribe button, please. It helps us out immensely. Make sure you check your registration. The deadlines are coming up. I say that over and over again. Let me say it in a different way. Check your fucking registration. They fucked me over before. I had to correct mine 2 elections ago. They had an address that I lived at like 10 years prior. They just willy-nilly changed my address. Check your fucking registration. You got, it's October 11th here in Texas. That's just a couple weeks away, folks. A little over 2 weeks away. The election's coming up in just a little over a month, folks. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Vote Democrat from the top of the ticket all the way to the bottom. I love you folks. Old Texas Paul out.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.